Hi, my name is Nicole Kutraki. I am the founder of Fix Chicago. Fix Chicago's goal is to end the citywide killing of our shelter pets inside all of our shelters. We plan on doing this by including community, including city officials, and actually developing a strategic plan through data that we want to present in 2020. I don't have a speech plan per se, so I'm going to actually just tell you a story and talk with you about an experience that really changed my life and brought me to the point of where I am today. I have two rescue dogs from a shelter in Kansas. I was actually living in Kansas at the time. I ended up having a really bad day, and because I knew nothing about animal sheltering, I thought at the time that it would be a good idea to go to the local shelter and to play with puppies. And I arrived at the shelter and I quickly realized that this place of, that I idealized of happiness, of warmth, of love, of adoptions, of all these things was actually the very opposite. I remember walking through the first aisle of cages that were stacked upon each other and seeing these beautiful animals that were covered in their feces and urine. And I remember looking into their eyes and just breaking and I didn't plan on adopting. I planned just to come and pet some dogs to make me feel better. And I remember asking the woman that was showing me around, what it was that all those dogs that had the blocky heads and the floppy ears, why were they in one area of the shelter? And she proceeded to tell me that in Kansas, back in 2007, 2008, there was a breed ban. So that means that in that shelter in that area, I could not legally take pit bulls. They were not legal in Kansas. So fast forward, to 10 years later almost, I've had my beautiful dogs. I obviously took them. They've been a huge gift and a huge blessing to me, and they've taught me so much about everything. But the biggest takeaway probably that they taught me was about trust. I started volunteering with Paws Chicago, and I started volunteering with Paws because when you ask the community, that just seemed like a name that was oftentimes said and talked about. I started going to their board meetings. I then started going to their fundraisers. I then started getting involved in raising money through my artwork that I would sell and giving it back to Paws. Lori Maxwell, the director of their spay and neuter program, took me out and she took me to the Englewood community. And then every summer, every Saturday, I spent in Englewood working with the residents, knocking on doors, educating the local community about the importance of spay and neuter. And I began really piecing together this whole complex problem. And I remember asking myself, well, why? Why is it that Chicago is still killing dogs? Why is it that if Austin is no kill, if San Francisco is no kill, if Los Angeles is no kill, if New York is no kill, what is our problem? Why can't we get there? And I remember meeting these wonderful people, many of which are probably in the room right now, that are founders of rescues, that are volunteers, that are these wonderful humans that are showing up, that are in the trenches day in and day out, and we just can't stop the bleeding, and we just keep on pulling dogs, and we don't focus on actually fixing a system that is entirely broken and backwards, and there are not programs in place that need to be in place. So I'm really excited about Fix Chicago because I think that even though Chicago has done great the past decade and we've made so much progress, that shouldn't be good enough. We shouldn't settle with just great. We should be excellent. We should have a high standard, a higher standard for ourselves, for our community, and I believe we can get there. But I also know and I also believe that we need a plan. We need to understand how we get from point A to point B. So Fix Chicago is actually that group. So we plan on developing a strategic plan. We plan on including city officials. We plan on including members of the community that are boots on the ground, that see what the problems are. We plan on doing a full assessment with data to show us, what programs should we be implementing at Chicago Animal Care and Control? What programs should we be implementing at Anti-Cruelty Society? What should we do with Animal Welfare League? Everyone forgets about them. So there are just so many problems, but we at Fix Chicago believe that we need to really focus on the facilitating of the conversation conversation, the inclusion of everyone in our community. And that includes the volunteers, that includes the politicians, that includes the rescue groups, that includes the pet lovers, that includes everyone in this room. And we need to work together. We can't be divisive. And I believe that with a plan and with this team that we're developing, that we have in place, we actually can make Chicago no kill, and we will. Thank you for coming out. I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton, so to speak, over to my colleague Jackie, who's going to take over. And I ask that you continue to share on social media, on our Fix Chicago page. Continue being involved, even if it's that way. So sign up and volunteer. We always need more volunteers. So Brittany should be in the back of the room at the table right now. So go see Brittany after. But I thank you for your support. The pets definitely thank you for your support, and we wish you the best in 2019. Thank you.